Hello everyone, how you doing? I hope you're all doing really well today. I'm Lindsay, your host of the Heavy Metal Journal and writer for This Day in Metal, and I'm back with New Metal Monday, where I talk about my favourite new releases of the week, and I have 4 brand new albums that I want to talk about this week. But before I jump into those, make sure to check out the description box below, where you will find a Spotify playlist, which will feature every single album that I talk about on my New Metal Monday videos. That gets updated every single Monday as soon as this video goes live. So if you have Spotify, make sure to follow that playlist because, like I said, I update that on a weekly basis. If you don't have Spotify though, don't worry about it because I will also be including the band's Bandcamp details and their YouTube pages, just so you guys can find the music that I'm talking about as easily as possible, at least until I can figure out how to add the music into my videos without YouTube having an absolute meltdown at me about it. I keep trying on a weekly basis, I keep trying different things, and every single time YouTube's just like, no, don't think so, you're going to get in big trouble. And quite frankly, I don't want to get in big trouble. I get into enough trouble as it is in life in general, so this will just stay a trouble-free zone until I can figure out how to do that. Also, whilst you're down there, check out the This Day in Metal website that I write for, which features breaking news in the metal world, full detailed album reviews that breaks down albums track by track in a lot more detail, special features and interviews. A couple of you have asked me if I would consider doing interviews for this channel. I already do interviews, but I do it for a different channel. So if you follow the This Day in Metal YouTube channel and the website, you'll be able to see a lot of my interviews. But I think what I will end up doing is I will start uploading a YouTube short just to let you guys know that I have done an interview. My last interview was with the guitarist Ryan from the Black Dahlia murder, so that will be getting uploaded very soon. Anyway, that's enough of that. 4 brand new albums that I want to talk about, and I'm just going to jump straight in. Okay, so first up on my list, I have Deceased with Children of the Morgue, and this is death thrash metal. Now, the thing that I really liked about this record is the fact that it incorporates lots of different pacing throughout the entire record. So you have your really fast thrashy elements, you have your mid-tempo stomps, you've got those slow-paced, really ominous, crushing death metal elements, all rolled into one with really rasping death thrash metal vocals, a couple of kind of like haunting, spooky spoken word elements that are really quite sinister as well, and it really does have a very heavy horror kind of theme to it. It's very guitar driven, so you can expect a lot of riffage and a lot of solos. In fact, I think on one of the tracks there's about 3 different solos, and it's just absolutely fantastic. But not only that, it's a fun record to listen to. It's really bouncy, it's really powerful and energetic, and it's going to get you moving. But it still has all of that technical intricacies, fantastic guitar work, and it's just a very dark, ominous, fast-paced, mid-tempo paced, death metal, slow-paced, fantastic blended record. Definitely get onto this. This band have been going since 1985, and it's safe to say, despite their name, they are very much alive and they show no signs whatsoever of slowing down anytime soon. So if you like your death metal and your thrash metal rolled into one, this one is definitely for you. Especially if you are a fan of the likes of Rigor Mortis, Possessed, Autopsy, Death, that kind of sound. Definitely check that out. Plus, that album artwork is really creepy and I love it. Okay, so next up on my list was an album that I was really excited about, and that's Wintersun with Time 2. And this is symphonic melodic death metal. Now, I know there was a bit of controversy around this album about the way it was created and the amount of time that's elapsed since the first project, Time, which was released in 2012. A lot of people seem to think that it was getting hyped up and it was going to be a disappointment. For me personally, I fell in love with this record. It completely blew me away. It has all of that symphonic goodness, the melodic death metal, the crushing guitars, the blistering blast beats, the combination of the rasping guttural vocals and clean, powerful, soaring vocals. But the thing that I really loved about this was a lot of the symphonic and the Eastern elements throughout this. They use a lot of traditional kind of Chinese and Eastern instruments throughout this record, and it really does create this beautiful, serene atmosphere interspersed with all of that symphonic orchestra and the melodic death metal side of things. And the tracks themselves are sprawling. You've got 8-minute tracks, 10-minute tracks, 13-minute tracks, but it doesn't feel like that when you're listening to it. It's captivating, it's enticing, and it's so ridiculously heavy, melodically rich, but really harsh and brutal at the same time. So if you like all of your symphonic goodness in your melodic death metal, definitely check this one out, especially the Eastern elements and traditional instruments that they use throughout it as well. It is just so beautiful. And they also incorporate a lot of other nature elements into it. So you've got the blowing wind, you've got the water that's ebbing and flowing on the shore, you've got running rivers, and it's just magical and beautiful, but devastatingly heavy and harsh and energetic at the same time. So if you are a fan of the likes of Atavistia, Insephirum, if you like bands that I've recommended before, such as Sodal Misery, Nuclear Winter, that kind of symphonic, grandiose, opulent, melodic death metal with lots of synth and lots of really cool elements, you're definitely going to want to get onto this. I love the album artwork as well. It's beautiful and I was not disappointed. But if you want a more detailed review of this album, check out that link below in the description box, because I did write a full album review for This Day in Metal, breaking down each track in a lot more detail. So definitely go and check that out. Okay, so next up on my list, I'm going into black metal now, and I have Modern Rites with Endless. And this is melodic black metal with a bit of 90s industrial theme throughout it as well. Now, don't be put off by that, because let me explain. This is predominantly a melodic black metal record. So you have all of that black metal riffage, you have that really harsh kind of element to it. I wouldn't go as far to say it was raw. It is quite polished, but it's not over the top polished, and it still retains that kind of raw energy that black metal has. But instead of it being really rigid like a lot of black metal can be, this flows really, really well. And when I say the 90s kind of industrial sound to it, it's not over the top and it's very, very subtle. The bass guitar in this is distorted to kind of reflect that 90s kind of industrial dark sound, and the synths and the keyboards throughout it are very, very subtle, but they add a really nice dynamic layer to the record. Yes, you have all of that melodic riffage, you have the blast beats, you have the guttural vocals, and that really dense black metal atmosphere with very harsh melodies and harmonies. But those electronica, no, I wouldn't say it's electronica actually, it's very much industrial, but very, very subtle 90s industrial elements to this. And it really creates this very multi-layered, incredibly fun, but dark album to listen to. I found this highly addictive. In fact, I probably listened to this album more than any of the other 3 that I've recommended on today's video. I know I've got one more left to go, but this album, it really drew me in, and there was just something very dark and intoxicating about it. So if you are a fan of the likes of Vulg or Achilles, or even the Vemod album that I recommended a few videos ago, you're definitely going to want to get onto this. But this is something really cool, really interesting, and really easy and enjoyable to listen to, despite the fact it's quite harsh. Definitely check it out. Okay, so last up on my list, but certainly by no means least, is a bit of a curveball album, and I love it. And it completely caught me off guard. I did not know what to expect when I was listening to this album, but to be fair, I didn't know what to expect when I listened to their last album, and I really enjoyed that too. And that's VHS with For a Few Riffs More. Now, this is death metal with a little bit of thrash metal in there, and a little bit of simple punk, but it's spaghetti western as well. Yes, so you never know what to expect with this band. Every time they release new material, it's of a different theme. They've done kind of like a fantasy, kind of Dungeons and Dragons kind of themed album before. They've done horror stuff, but this time it's spaghetti western, and it works. So you have kind of like this old school 70s, 80s spaghetti western kind of style music and theme throughout this. It's very much centered on that. But then you've got the guitars and you have those nasty death metal growls. This is a really cool album, and I got huge Quentin Tarantino vibes from listening to this. Doesn't help that the first track is called Django. Django Unchained was an absolutely fantastic movie. I love Quentin Tarantino movies. I'm a huge Quentin Tarantino fan, and as soon as I started listening to this, that was the kind of vibe that I was getting from it. You know how he incorporates a lot of old school cinema into his movies with that kind of sound? That's exactly what you get with this. So, and it works. Like I said, I don't know how it works. It just does. It's very moody and very dark and very atmospheric, but it's so fun to listen to as well. So definitely check this one out. I'm not going to try and compare it to anything else, because the only other band that I've really heard do this kind of like Western theme was Wayfarer, that I recommended last year, that was in my top 10 of 2023. But that was more of a black metal with kind of like that Western sound. This is death metal, and it's more spaghetti Western, old school kind of stuff. And that's it for this week's, again, very rambly New Metal Monday. Once again, comment down below to let me know what you think of today's records, especially that VHS one. I'd be really interested to hear what people think of that. Also, your opinions on the whole Wintersun situation as well. By the time this video goes live, I will be at a show. I'm going to see Hand of Kalliach's very first ever live performance in Edinburgh, so I'll make sure to report back on that as well. Like, share, subscribe. Don't forget to follow the Spotify playlist, which will get updated as soon as this goes live. Thank you so much, and I will see you very soon in my next video.